You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rants for Black and White Sports 2. Well, this is certainly an interesting development out of nowhere. As we know, about 2 weeks ago, Jim Harbaugh and the University of Michigan came out with a very elaborate statement saying Harbaugh was staying at Michigan and that he was done with the NFL. We figure at least for this year, probably got a little bump from Michigan. And now surfaces a report that Jim Harbaugh did an in-person interview with the Denver Broncos, yes, in like the last week, since that statement of him staying at Michigan has come out. Now, the Broncos are in a very interesting situation because it seems like, does anybody want this job all of a sudden? It seems like Sean Payton has taken himself out of the running. It still looks like he's going back to Fox Sports, like NFL Network. The guys over there, Rappaport, Pelissero, came out and said the other day, Cardinals are interested in Payton. I just don't see him and Kyler working out. Oddly enough, Payton and the Texans is kind of interesting. We don't know what the deal is in Denver right now. I continue to believe it's the combination of lack of draft picks, Russell Wilson's play, and Russell Wilson's contract that is a real turnoff to any potential hire. Now, the Broncos' next favorite candidate is Demeco Ryans. Well, we literally got a breaking news story involving Demeco. Of course, he's the 49ers DC, and they play today. At the end of this video, I will throw you my picks, so they'll be out there and on the record. Bro Bible. A new report once again links Jim Harbaugh with the Denver Broncos. Jim Harbaugh has the Michigan Wolverines humming on all cylinders. The Big Blue are two-time defending Big Ten champions and is in a great position to win the conference again next year. But it's no secret that NFL teams have coveted the coach. After all, he was just a few yards from winning a Super Bowl as the coach of the 49ers in the 2012-2013 season. Last year, he spurned the Vikings as they were incredibly interested in him. This year, Harbaugh flirted with some jobs. The biggest one was the Denver Broncos. But he did announce January 16th he would be returning to Michigan. But a new report by Adam Schefter, and Schefter is as tuned in with the Denver Broncos organization as anybody. We know he's been all around that organization for years. Reports that Michigan coach took a meeting with the Denver Broncos last week, proving that he still has eyes on the NFL in some capacity. Broncos owner Greg Penner and the University of Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh met last week in Ann Arbor to discuss Denver's head coaching position without any deal materializing, league sources told ESPN. Now, here's a little piece of that article. Broncos owner Greg Penner and the University of Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh met last week in Ann Arbor to discuss Denver's head coaching position without any deal. Although Harbaugh 2 weeks ago announced he was staying at Michigan, Penner did his due diligence and still traveled to Ann Arbor to meet in person with the coach, like he's done with 7 other candidates during the Broncos head coaching search. The follow-up conversations were part of the process for both Denver, led by Penner, and general manager George Payton and Harbaugh. The face-to-face meeting came after Harbaugh's initial video interview with Denver, after which he pulled his name out of contention and reaffirmed his commitment to Michigan. I do want to point something out here. A couple of people involved with that Denver ownership and that committee they've put together to do the hiring, they have ties to Stanford. Jim Harbaugh coached Stanford and was very successful there, okay? That is why David Shaw is in the running for this job. And some are starting to think Shaw may end up getting this job. Now, Denver fans would probably be like, oh no, look, NFL teams have been chasing David Shaw for years. They've cooled off on him because Stanford had a couple of down seasons. David Shaw is a very good coach. And there is a reason why NFL Network gets David Shaw on there during the draft for their coverage. And he's got a boatload of NFL ties and experiences. Okay, so if Denver was to end up with David Shaw, I actually would love that hire. I really would. There was a time after Harbaugh left where I was like, I wish the Niners would just go hire David Shaw. Of course, we got Kyle Shanahan, and that's where we're at. But you get the point there. I wouldn't necessarily take that as if they end up with Shaw. Condoleezza Rice is involved with the hiring there, and she's got ties to Stanford. Somebody else does too. It may be Greg Penner, in fact. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Now, this just broke. The Texans and Demeco Ryans, of course, he played there for years and years. He was one of their best defensive players. Demeco Ryans is the favorite for the Texans job. By the way, he's the favorite for the Broncos job. This is getting strange for the Denver Broncos. 49ers defensive coordinator Demeco Ryans is considered the favorite for the Texans head coaching job, sources told Adam Schefter. Ryans, who interviewed with the Texans on January 20th, has also been linked to head coaching vacancies with the Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts. But after overseeing the NFL's number one defense this past season, Ryans is now the front runner to be the next head coach of the Texans, who cannot conduct a second interview with him until after the NFC Championship game. The Texans are also think highly of Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, who has strong support within the Houston organization, sources told Schefter. Gannon interviewed with the Texans on January 14th. Another Philadelphia assistant emerging as top coaching candidate is offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, who will have a second interview with the Colts for their vacant head coaching job. The Eagles also have multiple offensive coordinator interview requests for their quarterbacks coach Brian Johnson, but the Eagles are determined to keep Johnson and not let him leave. Well, they're probably using him as a fallback in case Steichen ends up taking a head coaching job somewhere. The one guy that I saw got an interview somewhere that I think should be getting a little bit more consideration around the league, and he probably will in next year's cycle, is Mike Kafka, the ex-quarterback. I would look at him a little more. I don't know if I'm a team, if I necessarily hire a defensive coach, a defensive pedigree head coach at this point. I just don't know. Like the Texans, I mean, yeah, Demeco is a DC for the 49ers. They're my favorite team. I don't want to lose him. But if you objectively take a step back, our defense is full of great players. Okay? So in turn, when you've got that many talented players to coach, how do you fully know what part of that is talent, what part of that is coaching? It does make sense for the Texans because of the ties there. Also, the Texans are going to have to draft a quarterback. That's where me wanting an offensive coach comes in, somebody that maybe is an ex-quarterback to develop a quarterback. If I'm the Broncos, there's no way I'm hiring a defensive coach. I'm bringing in somebody that's got ties or would know how to work and possibly save Russell Wilson. And if Russell Wilson doesn't work out, you can draft a quarterback and they can work with him. You get the point. Today's games, NFC Championship, Eagles, Niners. I will tell you this, as a Niners fan, I am extremely concerned that Brock Purdy, if you objectively take a step back and go, We're talking about a rookie quarterback going to Philadelphia, into Philadelphia. That place is going to be nuts. Absolutely nuts. That being said, not a chance in hell I'm picking against my Niners. 23-20 Niners. Brock Purdy escapes by the hairs on his chinny chin. They're going to do just enough. It would not shock me today if Kyle Shanahan comes out, unlike the last few weeks where he's been throwing the ball more, but he comes out and runs one of these almost Jimmy Garoppolo game plans where you look up at the end of the game and Kyle Shanahan's run the ball 30 to 45 times. That would not shock me a bit to see that happen. Both teams, very good offensive and defensive line. In my opinion, we got the 4 best teams in the Final Four in all of football. Bengals in the KC, I think the Bengals, they have the look and feel of a possible team of destiny. I think Joe Burrow's for real. I think it's a crime that Joe Burrow doesn't get more consideration as in that Mahomes, Allen, Burrow should be in there somewhere. And let's just be real. I think everybody's turned out to be wrong about Zach Taylor. Whether he's the greatest X's and O's coach in the world, I don't know. But he seems to be a hell of a motivator. Okay, a leader of men. They love Zach Taylor. It's obvious he knows how to motivate this team, use certain things like the coin flip. That neutral side AFC Championship game pissed the Bengals off. I think this whole team is angry. And I got to be real, 30-17, I think they beat the hell out of Kansas City today. I truly do. I mean, it might be close heading into the fourth, but I think they pull away. What they did to Buffalo was jaw-dropping. They manhandled the Buffalo Bills. Truly. No fear, manhandled them. It was domination. It truly was. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 supporters. Is the Broncos going to fool around and just offer Harbaugh something he can't refuse? Out of nowhere. Man. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.